Gabriel Austin here with Mississippi Today with a special edition of Mississippi This Week as our Senate reporter Adam Ganucheau joins us to discuss a story that he wrote yesterday concerning this year's and next year's fiscal year budgets. Now, you had an exclusive with Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves, and what were some of his thoughts about the ending of fiscal year 2016?
Yeah, well, it was a great chat with the Lieutenant Governor. He was gracious enough to give us some time. In terms of the 2016 budget, which ends at the end of this month, June 30th is the last day of fiscal year 2016, it looks like the state is going to have to make somewhere between $725 million and $750 million in revenue, essentially to balance the budget. He certainly gave some interesting comments about that, some perspectives, from someone who served as state treasurer for 8 years. It'll be interesting to see if the state can find that money and get that much in revenue this month.
So how does that number compare to other months of revenue?
Yeah, so just for some background and perspective here, the most recent month available from the Department of Revenue is April of this year, and the state brought in $543.3 million. Obviously, if that same amount was garnered this month, that would fall considerably short of the $725 to $750 million mark. Last June, and June typically is the month of the year in which the state brings in the most of any month.
Okay.
Last June, the state brought in $695.8 million, which is a lot closer to that 725 minimum there, but still, it's low. So, if the state can bring in between 725 and 750 million, it will be the highest revenue total of any month in the state's, at least in 13 years.
Okay, and did the Lieutenant Governor did he sound like that? Did he say that would be a problem for the state of Mississippi to bring in that between $725 and $750 million?
He expressed, to us essentially that he doesn't know. And that's not an unfair assessment at all, because you can't predict revenue. You never can. There's a group in Mississippi called the Revenue Estimating Group. It consists of the state's top 5 financial figures officials. And Tate Reeves, since he was state treasurer for 8 years between 2004 and 2012, he was able to serve on that committee, which ultimately makes budget recommendations to the legislature. And yesterday when we talked, his perspective on all this was, I can't say definitively whether we're going to get this in or not. Looking at the previous numbers that we have available, it's going to be tough. We also spoke with someone in the state economist's office, and he told us that if the previous 3 months were any indication, it looks like we're going to fall short of that $725 million threshold that is necessary to balance the budget.
Okay, and moving forward, say that we don't reach that goal, what would happen for next year? Did the Lieutenant Governor speak on that?
He did. He referenced dipping into the rainy day fund, which is a fund that was set aside a few years ago by the legislature, basically to have this cash reserve in place in case something like this happened. Depending on any potential shortfall, again, it's too early still to know if we even will have a shortfall and what that would be, what exactly the amount would be. But he did reference the possibility of dipping into that rainy day fund. That currently holds about $350 million in it. He also talked about some other cash reserves the state has on hand that it's about $150 million. So we're talking a total of $500 million in cash reserves the state has to work with here. And he said, if it happens, we're preparing for the worst. We certainly don't expect it by any means at this point, but preparing for the worst. We do have those reserves on hand to dip into if necessary.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Adam. And for a full transcript of Adam's interview with the Lieutenant Governor, of course, you can visit MississippiToday.org for that and for more statewide coverage.